Ned Fulmer just made another joke about the scandal that blew up his career. And at this point, it's getting hard to believe that's an accident. Because here's what's strange. Most public figures spend years trying to distance themselves from the moment that nearly destroyed everything. They change the subject, they rebrand, they hope people forget. Ned seems to be doing the exact opposite. In a recent stand-up appearance, he joked about the workplace affair that ended his run with the Try Guys. The audience laughed. Clips started circulating, and almost immediately, people began asking the same question they've been asking for months. Why does he keep bringing this up? But the more you look at what Ned has been doing lately, the more it starts to feel like we're asking the wrong question. Because what if this isn't a slip-up? What if this is the strategy? And that possibility changes everything. The stand-up joke wasn't an isolated moment. Over the past several months, the scandal keeps showing up in Ned's content. There was the podcast appearance discussing the fallout. There were conversations about therapy. There were discussions about divorce, public backlash, and rebuilding life afterward. At one point, he even used imagery connected to the scandal in promotional content.
BuzzFeed, I basically wrote the listicle 10 reasons why having a workplace affair will shatter your marriage and career. Like, subscribe. Yep. It's led me to stand up, though. Seems like I fit right in. Thank you very much for having me.
Individually, you could explain any of these away. Together, they look like a pattern. And once you notice that pattern, something becomes obvious. Ned isn't acting like someone trying to make people forget. He's acting like someone who has accepted they'll never forget. That's a huge difference. To understand why, you have to remember what made this situation so explosive in the first place. The affair wasn't just a personal scandal. It collided directly with the identity Ned had spent years building. Plenty of creators keep their relationships private. Ned did the opposite. His marriage became part of the content. His relationship became part of the brand. His image as the devoted husband wasn't a side detail. It was one of the main reasons people recognized him. When the scandal broke, people didn't just feel disappointed. Many felt like the entire character they had been watching suddenly collapsed. And that's why this situation was different from an ordinary celebrity controversy. The brand wasn't damaged. The brand was gone. Which may explain why Ned doesn't seem interested in rebuilding it. Because from the outside, it looks like he's building something completely different. Think about the topics that dominate his content now. Therapy, consequences, public shame, divorce, single parenthood, starting over, life after a massive mistake. That's not the old Ned Fulmer brand. It's an entirely new one. And whether people like it or not, there is an audience for stories about redemption, rebuilding, and public failure. The problem is that not everyone sees it that way. For a lot of viewers, the discomfort comes from one specific concern: the family. Every time the scandal is discussed again, people wonder how those conversations will age. Some argue that talking openly about mistakes is healthy. Others feel that constantly revisiting the situation risks keeping old wounds alive.
Just because you're divorced, just because you've separated, that doesn't mean your family's broken down. You're not different. I hate that concept of the broken family, the broken home. That doesn't exist. You're just rewriting it. You get to choose. You've got the power to decide how you want to do it with your ex, for your children, and that's what I wanted to share.
That's why reactions remain so divided. Some viewers see accountability. Others see content. And that debate became even more intense after one particular comment. During a discussion about the affair, Ned reflected on the fact that he had been seen publicly with a person involved. Looking back, he suggested that he may have been behaving as if he subconsciously wanted the double life to end.
Different stuff, but one of the things that I sort of became known for was actually my relationship and family. And I talked about that journey of being a young couple and starting to have children. My ex-wife, Ariel, became a character in a way in our show. And so I was known as a public figure. She was known as a public figure. And in 2022, I had an affair with an employee of my production company, our producer, actually. And all of this became a very public scandal, which had immense consequences in all of our lives. I was seen with my affair partner going out in public, and someone took photos of that and sent it to our partners and then my office. And so, yeah, I mean, we went to a major concert together. I think at this point it had been going on for many months. And I think I wouldn't have said at the time that I wanted to get caught, but looking back on it, I certainly was behaving in a way that I did. And I subconsciously, most assuredly, I wanted this fractured life to end. The immediate consequences were shattering my marriage. And then my business partners found out the context of me having a relationship with an employee of our production company, which was concerning to them. And they ultimately chose to part ways with me and kind of force both me and Ariel away from the brand and even edit me out of videos, which then the audience noticed and was confused about. Then the photos kind of went viral and the whole story went viral in the same breadth as me being pushed away from the brand. And it was just completely overwhelming for me, for Ariel. Kind of a slow moving train wreck that over a course of about a month, as we're dealing privately with this immense fallout, we're also kind of navigating this behind the scenes.
That single statement sparked a wave of discussion. Some people viewed it as self-awareness. Others saw it as an attempt to explain the inexplicable. Either way, it revealed something bigger than the affair itself. The psychological weight of trying to maintain two completely different realities at the same time. And while Ned has spent years talking about the fallout, there is another side of the story that often gets overlooked. The Try Guys. The scandal didn't only affect one person. It affected a business, employees, projects, partnerships, and years of momentum. Content had to be reworked. Videos had to be edited. Plans changed overnight. Even now, years later, many fans still connect the fallout to questions about where the group might have gone if things had unfolded differently. Which brings us back to the question at the center of all this. Why does Ned keep talking about the scandal? Maybe it's because he can't escape it. Maybe it's because audiences won't let him escape it. Or maybe he's realized something most people haven't. The old version of his public image isn't coming back. And if that's true, then the real story isn't that Ned keeps revisiting the scandal. The real story is that the scandal may have become the foundation of whatever comes next. And that's exactly why people can't stop debating him. So what do you think? Is Ned showing accountability by openly discussing the fallout? Or has he turned the biggest mistake of his career into an entirely new brand? Let me know in the comments.